Jaya Gopi Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare जयं विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजक श्री श्रीमद एसी भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी जगद्गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव भक्त वृंद की, नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की, प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्री भासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की, जय श्री श्री वृंदावन मथुरा धाम की, जय श्री श्री नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की, जय श्री श्री पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की, जय श्री श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा महारानी की, जय श्री श्री द्वारका धाम की, जय श्री श्री बद्रिका धाम की, जय श्री श्री अयोध्या धाम की, जय श्री श्री गंगा मैया जमुना मैया की, जय श्री श्री कृष्ण भक्तिपदायिनी वृंदा देवी तुलसी महारानी की, श्रील प्रभुपाद ट्रांसडेंटल बुक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन की, हरिनाम संकीर्तन की, संकीर्तन महायज्ञ की, पति पावन हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की, उपस्थित समस्त भक्त वृंद की जय। निताय गौर सीतानाथ प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। ऑल ग्लोरीज टू assembled devotees हरे कृष्णा, ऑल ग्लोरीज टू assembled devotees हरे कृष्णा, ऑल ग्लोरीज टू assembled devotees हरे कृष्णा, ऑल ग्लोरीज गुरुवान करुणा श्री प्रभुपाद की। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं, देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये, नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया, भगवतीरुत्तमा श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। Hare Krishna. So first of all, I will like to welcome and thank all of you who have assembled here in the one of the auspicious day. Today we are celebrating the Vyas Puja, 79th Vyas Puja Mahamahotsav of His Holiness Tamal Kṛṣṇa Gosvāmī. Jai Sri Tamal Kṛṣṇa Gosvāmī ki. So first of all, I would like to seek the blessings and mercy of all the assembled Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis and our previous acharyas, and especially our Śrīla Prabhupada and my spiritual master, so that though I am absolutely unqualified to talk on this 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, which deals with a higher subject matter of especially this particular chapter, which is entitled Krishna and Balarāma Meet the Inhabitants of Vrindavan. So the title itself says it requires a qualified speaker. So though I am not fully qualified, but still by discussing these subject matters, all those troublesome to our heart will gradually get purified, and over a period of time, maybe sometime will be eligible to speak on this subject matter. So whatever I have heard or whatever I have read, little bit I have understood by the mercy of the superior acharyas, I will try to enlighten on that. So as all of you know, we are today going to start a new chapter. That's the chapter number 82, and the title is Krishna and Balarāma Meet the Inhabitants of Vrindavan. So So today we are going to discuss text number 1. Kindly repeat after me. Śrī-śuka uvāca athaikadā dvāravatyāṁ vasato rāma-kṛṣṇayoḥ sūryoparāgaḥ su-mahān āsīt kalpa-kṣaye yathā. śrī-śuka uvāca athaikadā dvāravatyāṁ vasato rāma-kṛṣṇayoḥ sūryoparāgaḥ su-mahān āsīt kalpa-kṣaye yathā. śrī-śuka uvāca athaikadā dvāravatyāṁ vasato rāma-kṛṣṇayoḥ sūryoparāgaḥ su-mahān āsīt kalpa-kṣaye yathā. Kindly repeat. Śrī-śuka uvāca vasato rāma-kṛṣṇayoḥ sūryoparāgaḥ āsīt kalpa-kṣaye yathā. śrī-śuka uvāca athaikadā dvāravatyāṁ vasato rāma-kṛṣṇayoḥ sūryoparāgaḥ su-mahān āsīt kalpa-kṣaye yathā. Mataji. śrī-śuka uvāca athaikadā dvāravatyāṁ vasato rāma-kṛṣṇayoḥ sūryoparāgaḥ su-mahān āsīt kalpa-kṣaye yathā. Mataji, please. śrī-śuka uvāca vasato rāma-kṛṣṇayoḥ sūryoparāgaḥ su-mahān āsīt kalpa-kṣaye yathā. So word to word meaning. Śrī-śuka uvāca, Śukadeva Gosvāmī said, atha, then, ekadā, on one occasion, dvāravatyāṁ, in Dvāraka, vasatoḥ, while they were living, rāma-kṛṣṇayoḥ, Balarāma and Kṛṣṇa, sūrya of the sun, uparāgaḥ, an eclipse, su-mahān, very great, āsīt, there was, kalpa of Lord Brahmā's day, kṣaye, at the end, yathā, as if. The translation and purport of this text by the disciples of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Śrīla Prabhupada ki. Śukadeva Gosvāmī said, once while Balarāma and Kṛṣṇa were living in Dvāraka, there occurred a great eclipse of the sun, just as if the end of Lord Brahmā's day had come. Purport. Śrīla Viśvanātha Cakravartī Ṭhākura points out the words atha and ekadā are commonly used in Sanskrit literature to introduce a new topic. Here, they especially indicate that the reunion of the Yadus and Vṛṣṇis at the Kurukshetra is being narrated out of chronological sequence. Śrīla Sanatana Gosvāmī explains in his Vaishnava Toṣani commentary that the events of this 82nd chapter occur after Lord Balarāma's visit to Braj, that is chapter number 65, and before Maharaj Yudhishthira's Rajasuya sacrifice, chapter 74. This must be so. The Acharya's reasons, since during the eclipse at Kurukshetra, all the Kurus, including Dhritarashtra, Yudhishthira, Bhishma and Drona, met in friendship and happily shared the company of Sri Krishna. At the Rajasuya Yajna, on the other hand, Duryodhana's jealousy against the Pandavas became irrevocably inflamed. Soon after this, Duryodhana challenged Yudhishthira and his brothers to the gambling match, in which he cheated them of their kingdom and exiled them to the forest. Right after the Pandavas returned from the exile, the great battle of Kurukshetra took place, during which Bhishma and Drona were killed. So, it is not logically possible for the solar eclipse at Kurukshetra to have happened after Rajasuya sacrifice. Om Ajnanatimidandhasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshirunmilitam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaiham Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Utapadakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamsya Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sabadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Sri Visakhanvitam Sa He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesa Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rasabhano Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Mancha kalpa-tarubhyasya krupa sindhubhya patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo nama nama jayatam sarvatopangarma manda madarigate matsarvasya padambujo radha madanamohano namo mahavadanyaya krishna prem padayate krishnaya krishna chaitanya namne gauratasi namaha jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivhasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam karati vachalam pangum langheti girim Jatkapatamahavin Mande Sri Guru Dinatarinam Sri Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Iswaram Jaya Bhagavata Padha Vaishnavaira Sthane Ekanto Asraye Kara Chaitanya Charane Bhagavata Jena Mane Se Javana Sama Tara Sasti Ache Janme Janme Prabhu Janma Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Vede cha Ramayaneshchaiva Purane Bhagavate Tatha Adau cha ante cha madhye cha Harihi Sarvatra Giyate Paramananda He Madhava Padugala Makaranda Se Makaranda Panakari Anande Bolo Hari Hari Harinko Name Bandhu Hela Pari Karive Chakadola Se Chakadolanka Payare Manamarahu Nirantare Manama Nirantare Rahu Ha Krishna Boli Jiva Jau Ha Krishna Boli Jau Jiva Mote Uddhara Radha Dhava Mate Uddhara Radha Dhava Mate Uddhara Radha Dhava Hare Krishna. So, in this beginning of this chapter, as all of you have, first I would like to read the summary of the chapter. So this chapter describes how and many other kings met at Kurukshetra during a solar eclipse and discussed topics concerning Lord Krishna. So here we see there is a complete solar eclipse. There are two types of eclipse. One is partial, one is complete. It is very rare to see this kind of complete eclipse. So perhaps it is at the end of the one day of Brahma, which lasts about 1000 kalpas. One kalpa is Satya, Tretaya, Dvapara and Kali together. 4 yugas makes one kalpa, but here this kalpa means one day of Brahma. There are various calculations. So as we know, it about 1000 kalpas. You can imagine 43 lakhs into 1000. That many solar years. So after that, it's very, very rare. That means the end of Brahma's day means the night of Brahma is going to start, right? So that's why it's eclipse means what? The sun will be covered by the clouds. Actually, as per scriptures, Rahu, it engulfs the eternal enemy of sun and moon. It engulfs the sun. So that's how the astrological calculation was made, and it was forecasted that there is going to be a complete solar eclipse, and all the people throughout the India, Jiva Goswami mentions not only throughout Bharatvarsha, but the entire universe from different planetary systems, 14 planetary systems, the prominent kings and their associates with their queens and their prajas, all of them, they came with their respective aeroplanes to meet at the central point, as it is mentioned here by the disciples of Srila Prabhupada, that the central point was the topics concerning Krishna. That was the point. So it also relates how Krishna met Nanda Maharaj and other residents of Vrindavan at Kurukshetra and gave him great joy. So as all of us know, there is a long span of separation between the Brajvasis and Krishna. It is mentioned by Jiva Goswami that Krishna personally wrote letters. First he wrote a letter to Nanda Maharaj that is very auspicious, that on solar eclipse day there is an opportunity for all of us to meet again. So that's then when Nanda Maharaj read this in the assembly, the Nanda Baitak, so all the people, the Brajavasis, they were there in the Nandagaon. They were very much jubilant to hear this, and they were very eager. All of them approved, yes, we are ready to go. So please arrange for this. So at the same time, Krishna was arranging with all the Jaduvansis and their 16,108 queens, and they were well dressed with nice golden ornaments and flower garlands, and all these, they were looking very gorgeous, very beautiful. All are very eager and enthusiastic to meet their relatives. That means the Yadus, they wanted to meet the Brajavasis and all the kings throughout the world. Just imagine, just few days, yesterday I was reading on the board, on the gate number 3, it is mentioned 3 crores people are expected in the Guru Purnima. Just imagine that kind of gathering will be there. So many people will come, and the central point discussion, how they will glorify Krishna. And then they become eternally joyful. So then, hearing that a total eclipse of the sun was soon to occur, people from all over Bharatvarsha, including the Jadavas, converged at Kurukshetra to earn special pious credit. So pious credit means, as we know, in the scriptures mention that we incessantly commit various sinful acts, knowingly and unknowingly. So to get rid of that, various methods are prescribed, karma, jnana and Suddha Bhakti. So here this is mentioned about Suddha Bhakti, because Krishna is glorified means it is nothing but Bhakti Yoga. So here it is described that all the people, they wanted to go there and take bath, and they wanted to give charity to the Brahmanas, like cows. They are decorated with golden ornaments, they are garlanded very nicely, and clothes were covered on their body. So they are very auspicious. So then they wanted to also do fasting on this. It is mentioned in the scriptures, if one does fasting in the solar eclipse, as we also observe, our temple get closed and all of us remain complete fasting. It is very inauspicious both scientifically and also spiritually to honor any prasadam or food during the eclipse time. So that's why they decided they will go and take bath and then they will fast for the entire eclipse period till the end of the eclipse episode. So this event occurred while that time Krishna and Balarāma with all the Jaduvanshi, they were living very peacefully in Dvāraka. And then they come to know from the astrologer by astrological calculation about this event. So, and there is a place, all of you must have who have gone. I didn't go so far. I'm planning to go there. Maybe in future I'll be able to see that beautiful place where it is mentioned in the 10th canto that there is a place called Samanta Panchaka. Panchaka means 5. So all of you know that Parsuram, the empowered incarnation of Lord Krishna, he annihilated 21 times the sinful Kshatriyas, and there was torrents of blood. You can imagine how many people are killed. So practically there is a river of blood. So in order to accumulate those blood, so he created 5 lakes, big lakes were created by Parsuram himself, and in that place all the blood was accumulated. And later on, these 5 places, the lakes, become a tirtha, it's a place of pilgrimage. So all these Jaduvanshis, they were planning to go there and take bath in that this Samanta Panchaka, these 5 lakes, in order to purify their sinful acts, and that is the appropriate atonement for their various sinful reactions. So then, after it is mentioned that after the Jadus had bathed and performed obligated rituals, they noticed the king of Matsya, Usinara and other places had also come, as well as Nanda Maharaj and cowherd community of Braj, who were always feeling the intense anxiety in separation from Krishna. So it is mentioned, the big list is there in the Krishna book. Practically all the head of the kings has been mentioned, various dynasties are there. So all of them are related to Krishna. That is Yukta Vairagya. Nirbandhe Krishna Sambandhe Yukta Vairagyam Uchyate. So Rupa Goswami says, anything related to Krishna, it is also bhakti. So all of us are practicing Yukta Vairagya. So here it is specially mentioned, though many names are there, those days, as you just now heard in the Purport, that this exact event is not in exact chronological order. Why it happens so? Jiva Goswami mentions that Śukadeva Gosvāmī, while he was narrating Srimad Bhagavatam to Parikshit Maharaj, he was in such ecstatic mood. He was literally overwhelmed with Krishna Prem. So there was no proper order. So spontaneously, simultaneously, there was revelation of various pastimes of Krishna. So that's why the disciples write, Prabhupada also mentions in Krishna book, that in the 65th chapter, Balarāma came to Vrindavan. So after that, so many other pastimes are described. And the 74th chapter, it is there that Rajasuya sacrifice was done. So as all of you know, after Rajasuya sacrifice, Duryodhana becomes so envious of the Pandavas, especially Krishna. And because Shishupal was killed, so that's why he was, by that time already, so he was thinking to take revenge. So he arranged this gambling match, he cheated the Pandavas, and with the help of Sakuni, all of you know, I'm not going to details. So that's how he was very burning with envy. So then he refused to give even one the land, even measuring the tip of a needle also. So that's why the war happened. So in that war, all of you know, Drona and Bhishma, they were killed. But here it is mentioned that Drona and Bhishma, they also were present. Duryodhana was present. So that means this episode occurred before the Mahabharata war. That is before the Rajasuya sacrifice. That is how the Acharyas, they mention it is not in proper chronological order. So especially the Nanda Maharaj and all the Brajavasis, they were very much jubilant, and it was decided that some people has to stay back in Braj, because those days, though Krishna went out to protect Braj from the attack of various demons, but still there is a threat, because Jarasandha was still there and some other demoniac kings who were enemies of Kamsa, they were planning to attack the Braj. So they decided some people in the Braj would stay back, but most of them, they went back, went to meet Krishna in Kurukshetra. So as it is mentioned there, that Jiva Goswami says that Krishna wrote a letter in which he mentioned two things. One thing he said, those who have complete faith in my words that I am going to come back to Braj to meet each and every one who loves me, who adores me, who appreciates me. So other than that, there are some people that means don't have any faith in the Krishna's words. So those who have no faith, they should come and meet Krishna in Kurukshetra. Those who have faith, they can stay back to protect the Braj. Also Krishna wrote another letter to the gopis, and in two different letters. One is to Mother Jasoda, where it was mentioned all emotionally Krishna is expressing the mood of separation, the Vipramaras, and then Mother Jasoda was very eager. Then she called all the elderly gopis, and Srimati Radharani also came, and all of them unanimously agreed that they will also make arrangement to go to Kurukshetra with a special palinkins were arranged for them. So like that. So, and also it is mentioned that a secret letter was written to the younger section of the gopis, especially Srimati Radharani. So like the details are not available, but then the same discussion will happen once the gopis will go to Kurukshetra, which is the highlight of this chapter. So the Jadavas overjoyed to see all these old friends. They embraced them one by one as they shed tears of happiness. So when after a long time they say they met each other, so all the Jadus, they embraced the Brajavasis, and the different kings also, they were appreciating, they are glorifying the Brajavasis, how fortunate you are sharing the same palaces with Krishna, you are talking with Krishna, you are touching Krishna, you are sharing the same prasadam, you are do all the daily activities. So you all are not ordinary souls, you are having heaps of past activities in the past life. That's how you become so exalted. So then they were very astonished to see the beautiful look of Krishna. Krishna looking very gorgeous, and they were also armed. There are celestial horses, they are moving almost in air, and there are stalwart elephants who are also leading the procession. So like that, and especially the women, the queens, they were kept in very secret palanquins where it is very nicely clothed, it is looking very decorative. So it has been very nicely described as if the demigods in the heavenly planet, even they travel in their aeroplanes, celestial aeroplanes, that is also nothing in comparison to this procession. So you can imagine crores of people coming together in Kurukshetra, there are various camps, and Krishna specifically instructed Uddhava, you make a special arrangement for the Brajavasis, especially the gopis and and Nanda Baba. So because I want to meet them in secret, not openly with all other people. So like that, it was very huge arrangement was made. And then we see their wives also embraced one another with great pleasure. So all the male and females, they were embracing each other to express their love, affection and gratitude. So when Queen Kunti saw her brother Vasudeva and other members of her family, she put aside her sorrow. So as all of us know, Mother Kunti was going through many tribulations. So obviously as a lady, she will expect her brothers to help her. But unfortunately, there is no reply, there is no connection of any of her brothers. So that is why she is expressing her sorrow here. We will be hearing in details the subsequent verses. There are 48 verses altogether in this chapter. So practically each and every one glorifies the Lord Krishna. So here Mother Kunti in this part, she is telling Vasudeva, how can you forget me and my children? We are having so many difficulties. We are banished for a Agyat Vas for so many years. But yeah, I can understand. When the difficulties come, even Providence arranges that even the near and dearmost people, they also ignore people. That is the statement given by Mother Kunti. But Vasudeva in reply, he also will read now. Yet still she said, Vasudeva, oh brother, I am so unfortunate because all of you forgot me during my tribulations. Alas, even one's relatives, this is the one. Forget a person whom providence no longer favors. So that means providence will not favor. That means it is the supreme will of the Lord. So that the nice analogy was given by both the gopis and here also by Kunti Maharani, that when there is a tornado and there is a huge wind, they flow and blow, and then many things they are brought together, and again the next moment they are separated. The same analogy the gopis also give to Krishna, and here Queen Kunti is also sharing the same sorrow. Actually, practically she forgot her sorrows. She became very jubilant to see Vasudeva, and especially Lord Krishna and all their paraphernalia. So, alas, even Vasudeva then replied, my dear sister, everyone is merely a plaything of fate. That means then Vasudeva is replying, don't think we purposefully did all these things. Practically, we are also very afraid of Kamsa. All of you know, we fled here and there out of fear of Kamsa. In the 21st verse, you will read it. Actually, this is another proof that this episode occurred before Rajasya Yajna. So it is mentioned, Kamsa pratipitaha sarve vayam jata disam etarhya eva punaha sahanam daivanasa ditaha swasaha. Kamsa pratapita. Pratapita means the Kamsa was harassing all the Jaduvansis. So as all of you know, the Hindi class has already started. There also atrocities of Kamsa has been discussed. So how he was torturing, out of fear of Kamsa, people are in disguise. They are going here, there. Disam means different directions. So he's, here Vasudeva is telling survey to practically all the Jaduvansis. And Vayam means myself. Yathā means they fled, they went. And disam means in different directions. Etarhya eva punahastha sahanam. But by the mercy of the Lord, we again could come back to our original position. Now we are seeing, we are again reunited. So how it happened? By providence grace. That's why he is using daivenasa ditahasa swasaha. So that's how Vasudeva also told Mother Kunti. So don't think we did it but knowingly, purposefully, but we are forced to do so because we sat into different foreign lands. So there was a way for us to keep touch with you. Then it is mentioned, the kings present were struck with wonder upon beholding Lord Krishna and his wives, and they began to glorify the Jadavas for having gotten the Lord's personal association. So that's what I was mentioning. They are saying how fortunate you all are, Jaduvansis. Seeing Nanda Maharaj, the Jadavas were delighted, and each of them embraced tightly. Vasudeva also embraced Nanda with great joy and remembered how when Vasudeva was tormented by Kamsa, Nanda had taken his sons, Krishna and Balarāma, under his protection. So all of us, we know in Harivans it is mentioned there are two Krishnas born. All of you have been repeatedly hearing. Of course, Janmashtami is coming in future. So, so there also it is mentioned that the actual Krishna, there are two Krishnas. So the Vasudeva Krishna was born out of Devaki, and the Brajanandan Shyamsundar was born out of Jasoda. So they united to become complete Krishna. So as during Akro's, while he was taking, he could see two sets of Krishna, one inside the Jamuna, one in the chariot. So then the Vasudeva Krishna, he departed, he with his Sudarshan Chakra, he killed all them. And Brajanandan Shyamsundar, he stayed back in the heart of all the Brajavasis. That's the philosophy Krishna is going to teach the gopis. The gopis were telling how we are feeling the unbearable pangs of separation from you. Then Krishna said, what is the question of separation? In Chaturshloki Bhagavatam, in the second canto, 9th chapter, verse number 33, 34, 35 and 36. The first two verses, 33, 34, describe the Sambandha Gyan, and the 35th describes the prayojana and 36th describes the avidheya. So there also Lord Brahmā, the same thing Krishna is teaching to, Brahmā is telling Narad Muni, and also the Uddhava, when he will come the next chapters, he will also come to give the message of Krishna's letter to the gopis. There also the same philosophy is mentioned, but unfortunately the gopis didn't show any interest in this. This is called Atma Gyan. They said, Krishna, don't teach us this Atma Gyan. Talk something about our... So it was very surprising. Obviously people must be thinking, after a long time, this Krishna Balarāma meeting the Brajavasis. So obviously there will be some romantic discussion between them. Unfortunately they are discussing all philosophy. But Jiva Goswami mentions some of the intimate exchanges between the gopis and also it is mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita Rath Yatra. It is coming up in 27th. So it is there in the Madhya Lila, chapter number 13, text 121 onwards. So I will just read out the inner meaning of that. It is very important. So I am sure. So because while Lord Jagannath, he was watching Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he was so overwhelmed to see the ecstatic dance of Lord Chaitanya. What is Rath Yatra? Practically it is, Srila Prabhupada mentions that it is nothing but while these Brajavasis, they met Krishna and Balarāma and the Jaduvansis in the Kurukshetra, the gopis were not satisfied. This is not the right place, and they didn't appreciate Krishna's costume, the dress, in a royal dress with all the soldiers around. So then Radharani personally prayed various prayers which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recited in front of Lord Jagannath, and Jagannath was so overwhelmed, he just came out to the front, and then in the mood of Srimati Radharani, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is telling that, I am just reading out the translation, not much time to read the slokas, that very personality who stole away my heart during my youth is now again my master. Srimati Radharani's mood, Krishna, she is addressing Krishna. These are the same moon nights of month of Chaitra. The same fragrance of Malti flowers is there, and the same sweet breezes are blowing from the Kadamba forest. In our intimate relationship, I am also the same lover. Yet still my mind is not happy here. I am eager to go back to that place on the bank of Reva, under the Betasi tree. That is my desire. So Radharani is expressing, so it is there. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is telling this verse was recited by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu again and again. But Swarup Damodar, he could understand. Who else could understand? Srila Rupa Goswami. Swarup Damodar Goswami, he didn't reveal. But Rupa Goswami, later on, he wrote it, put it in the thatched house, and how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu dictated that. So then it is mentioned that that formerly all the gopis of Vrindavan were very pleased when they met with Krishna in the holy place Kurukshetra. The exact incident is mentioned. Similarly, after seeing Lord Jagannath, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu woke with ecstasy of the gopis. Being absorbed in ecstasy, he asked Swarup Damodar to sing. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spoke thus to Lord Jagannath. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is also speaking to Jagannath. You are the same Krishna, I am the same Radharani. We are meeting again in the same way as we meet in the beginning of our lives. Although we are both the same, my mind is still attracted to Vrindavan Dham. I wish that you will please again appear with your lotus feet in Vrindavan. But Vrindavan is what? Lotus feet of Krishna. In Kurukshetra there are crowds of people, elephants, horses, and among the rattling of chariots. But in Vrindavan there are flower gardens. Humming of bees, chirping of birds can be heard. So this is a very secluded place. Here at Kurukshetra, you are dressed like a royal prince, accompanied by great warriors. But in Vrindavan, you appear just like a boy, accompanied only by your beautiful flute. Here, there is not even a drop of ocean of transcendental happiness that I enjoyed with you in Vrindavan. So this is the mood of Radharani, he is telling Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Jagannath. They are talking to Jagannath. I therefore request you to come to Vrindavan and enjoy pastimes with me. If you do so, my ambition will be fulfilled. So like that is a long description, and he says that I have already described in brief. So like that it is there in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So like that, while we will be celebrating the Rath Yatra, we should be in the at least contemplating this mood of Lord Chaitanya. One time Prabhupada was chanting, so Prabhupada is mentioning in one of his lecture that he was remembering this particular episode, and tears were flowing from Prabhupada's eyes. And Prabhupada, he said, this is one of the very nice meditation one can make, especially Rath Yatra is approaching, or we are in the Rath Yatra procession. So we should understand what is the mood of, what should be our mood while pulling the cart. The gopis, they have the same mood. Unfortunately, His Holiness Gaur Gobind Swami Maharaj, he mentions, actually gopis were not successful. Though they desired to bring Krishna to Vrindavan, they were not successful. So there are various other things mentioned, but Prabhupada says, these are the mood of the gopis. These are the mood of the Srimati Radharani. So then it is mentioned that Balarāma and Kṛṣṇa embraced, they bowed down to Mother Jasoda, and their throat choked up with emotion, and they could say nothing to her. So this is also mentioned by Jiva Goswami very elaborately, that how when the Brajvasis especially, actually what happened, this Krishna and Balarāma, they went, they took bath, and they started their fasting. In the meantime, they are giving charities, and so after that they again took bath, and then they sumptuously fed all the Brahmanas and gave full charities. Then with their permission they took lunch. So it was almost midday, and then they were sitting under a large banyan tree and taking rest. So after the tiredness was gone, so they were thinking to meet different guests. So one by one after the other, they were meeting. Especially when they met Nanda Maharaj, the Krishna and Balarāma, from a distance, they developed the Ashtasatik Vikar. The hair standing on end, the perspiration was coming out, and they could not utter any voice. The voice was choked up. So all these Ashtasatik Vikar was there. And both Nanda Baba also mentioned the similar things. So practically they came running, and Nanda Baba, he embraced both Krishna and Balarāma, kept them in their lap, and many conversations are going on, which you will be hearing later on. And then after meeting Nanda Maharaj, they proceeded with the permission of Mother Jasoda into the private quarter, and Krishna and Balarāma, they went and they paid obeisances to Mother Jasoda from a long distance. And behind them, Mother Rukmini and also Mother Rohini and other queens, the principal queens, they were also following Krishna and Balarāma. And then practically they worshipped Nanda Maharaj. They did worship Nanda Maharaj, all these Jaduvansis. And Vasudeva in particular, he could not control himself. He came running and he embraced Nanda Baba. That before Putana was killed, while Nanda Baba came to give tax to Kansa. So at that time there was a meeting, and Vasudeva knew everything, how Gargacharya was sent to give the Namkaran Samskar of Krishna and Balarāma. So he was aware of this. So he was telling again and again, tears was flowing from his eyes. He was again and again embracing Nanda Baba very tightly. And he was telling that how we can repay. But even the wealth of Indra, if you give to you, both of you, we cannot repay. So like that the conversation was going. So here Mother Jasoda, she was also overwhelmed with affection and love for Krishna and Balarāma. Practically she took them, kept them on her lap, and they were all, it was mentioned that those days when Krishna and Balarāma saw Mother Jasoda, they were very surprised how they were very thin, all the gopis. Practically they were fasting, there was no cooking going on in their house, and they were not taking proper bath, their clothes were also worn out, there was no proper ornamentation, so everything. This time they ornamented themselves to meet Krishna, but their body is already thinned out. So with that thinned out body, Jiva Goswami mentions how all the acharyas also, they say, where from the torrents of tear that comes, and so it was very surprising. It is out of Krishna Prem. So all these details are mentioned, and then they also, Rukmini and Mother Rukmini and Mother Rohini, they also worshipped Mother Jasoda with love and affection, and they also embraced each other. So these exchanges are going on, very nice festive occasion was going on. And finally Krishna with Uddhava, he went to meet the Srimati Radharani and the gopis. So there's many intimate exchanges also going on according to Jiva Goswami, but Prabhupada didn't mention in detail in the Krishna book. So then it is coming to the rest of the just little 5 minutes left. So Nanda and Jasoda lifted their two sons onto their laps and embraced them, and in this way they relieved the distress of separation. They are very jubilant and joyful. Rohini and Devaki both embraced Jasoda, and remembering the great friendship she sat down, she had shown them, told her that kindness she had done by raising and supporting Krishna and Balarāma could not be repaid even with the wealth of Indra. When the Supreme Lord approached the young cowherd girls in a secluded place, he consoled them by pointing out that he is all pervasive. So this is the philosophy Krishna is telling. I am there in your heart, I am also outside. So what is the question of separation? So, but these gopis, they didn't accept this philosophy. Because Krishna is telling, being the source of all energies, he is the source of all energies. So there is no question of separation. They could never be separated from him. Having been at long last reunited with Krishna, the gopis prayed. So what is the prayer of gopis, which all of us should pray to our divine lordships? That simply to have your lotus feet manifest in their hearts. So this was the mood of the gopis. So coming to the sloka in today's verse. So here we see atha, ekadā. Atha means, so when the new chapter starts, it is the custom of the Śukadeva Gosvāmī or anybody who is narrating the topic. They start, ekadā means once upon a time. So that time is, it can be any time. Then Dvāraka, dvāravatyāṁ, dvāravatyāṁ in Dvārakā. Vasato, they were residing. Rāma means Balarāma and Kṛṣṇayoḥ. Sūryoparāgaḥ I mentioned, there is a special solar eclipse, that's why it is mentioned su-mahān. There is a mahān, but it is su-mahān, it is very special. Āsīt, kalpa-kṣaye, yathā. Āsīt, kalpa means the one day of Brahma, kṣaya means towards the end, yathā. This is important. Yathā, what is important? Because as if it was the end of, actually it was not the end of day of Brahma. It was, so many years was left out. So this is how it is mentioned. The time is up. So maybe in future, so many exalted speakers will tell you about more details about the past time. So with this, I would like to end. So obviously that's not in correction. I'm not qualified to answer any questions, but if anything is there, we can discuss. 2 minutes. If it is there. Okay. So it is more of a story part, but we should understand the feelings of the Brajvasis. If you read Gopal Champu, it is nicely described, Jiva Goswami, in details, especially the exchanges of Krishna and Balarāma and the Brajvasis. And in Krishna book, Prabhupada writes elaborately also, and also this Bhagavatam, the disciples, they write. Many other places you can read. So any mistakes from my side, I ask for forgiveness. Thank you very much for patiently hearing. Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Vasit Samasta Bhakta Vrunda ki, Nitaya Gaur Sitanat Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.